All right, welcome. Would you please stand? Welcome to the August 25th Rotary Club of Edmond meeting. And Ruth Boss, we're glad to see you in person, and we appreciate you joining us in prayer. Just a quick announcement for those of you that did not see my email yesterday. Tim Richardson took his wife home yesterday, so praise the Lord. And I just got an update from Tim. He said, tell everybody hi. She got up this morning, got dressed, and cooked her own breakfast.
No way.
Praise the Lord.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Ruth, would you lead some prayer?
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the many blessings that you've given us. And we're so delighted to be back together as a group now. We especially thank you for Tim's wife, that she's home and he can care for her, and I know it's a great relief to him. Thank you so much for all the leadership and around us. Help us to be kind and loving and wise in the decisions that we make. Be with our country as we go through these difficult times. Bless us and guide us and remind us again and again that we know that if we turn to you, you will heal our land. In your name we pray these things. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ruth. Also, thank you to our Rotarians in service today. Our greeter, Mr. Andy Lester, thank you. And our Madam Past President, Cindy Dimmitt, thank you both. We do not have a My Rotary story today. Well, we do have a My Rotary story today, don't we, Jess? Yeah, let's go with My Rotary story, and then we're going to have some fun here with the birthday boy.
Well, my Rotary story, I was thinking of that about the first time I became a governor for Rotary was in 1969. I was in 6th grade, and my uncle was in Moose Lodge. And Moose Lodge was a Rotary Club in Lincoln. Had a combined bingo night every night. And first time I ever played like that, and I won $25 in a Rotary bingo. And I bought my first bicycle with the last seat. So the first experiences was bingo and bicycles with the Rotary Club. Actually, about 40 years later, there was a lady in Open Mission Services that invited me to the Rotary Club in the morning, actually the Single Club, the morning club. And I decided to join in 2010. It was a morning club, and I was able to leave Edmond, go to work, and stop by the road, so I kind of worked out well. When I retired from over here after over 30 years in 2017, I thought I was going to be an author, so sure enough, it finally happened. And it was February this year, I signed a contract, and this fall I'm going to release my first book on peculiar activity. So I don't have a release date yet, but we'll count on that. But for the Rotary itself, it kind of struck me when I joined the Senior Club, the variety of people and the quality of people involved in that club, and how it's hard not to be involved in community when you're Rotary because of all the different individuals once you meet all the people. And then when I slid into and transferred to the Rotary Club in 2017, it was even more the same. All the people just having good experiences. It's just a great thing to be involved with the community. So.
All right, thanks, Mark. A little quick about Mark. The first day I visited this club, Mark said, hey, come stop by me. So Mark, we appreciate you. And it's kind of nice to know something good came out of Norman every now and then with you. So we're going to have a little fun here. Amzai, 85 years young. Stand up so we can sing to you, sir. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anzai. Happy birthday to you. All right. Anzai, thanks for all you do for our community. Two-time past president of our club, and we appreciate you. Happy birthday, buddy. A few quick announcements. Just a reminder to see Keith May. We do have a little bit of a shortage on My Rotary stories. They're fun. They're always different. Now that we've come back to person, I think there's a little bit less people signing up for it. So think about it. If you haven't done it, we'd love to have you. Just a reminder, each one bring one. We're asking each person to bring one guest sometime throughout the year. We're in week 7 of 52 since our year started in July. So please keep that in mind. Just a reminder about the membership drive in August. We will draw for the gift card here later today. We'll wait on that. Here in a little bit, we're going to hear about some service opportunities. One in particular that I want to mention is for Santa Fe High School students. There's an internship opportunity. There's a variety of ways to participate. Is Jordan with us today? Please see me, Allison, or Jordan Malwick if your company's interested, and we can get you the details, and we'll have Jordan share more about that next week. And so also just a reminder, we have a match. So if you want to donate to the local Edmond Rotary Foundation, we have an anonymous donor that will match your points for Rotary International and allow you to give local. Just a reminder, last year we had more requests than we had money to give out, so we did the prudent thing and we only approved what we had money to give out. But this year we have an anonymous donor. If you give to the local Edmond Rotary Foundation, the donor will match your points towards Paul Harris Fellow. So see Natalie, see Allison if you're curious what it takes to round up to be that next Paul Harris Fellow, and we'll keep the funds local. So before we go into Sergeant of Arms, Jennifer Seaton's got an opportunity to serve that I've asked her to share with the group, and then Chief Younger will lead us in Sergeant at Arms.
Yes, I think so. Hello. I get the opportunity to serve on our Community Service Committee. And one thing that I love about Rotary is that sign right there, service above self. So we have 2 really cool opportunities for you in September. The first one is the Downtown Edmond Arts Festival. So I'm passing around a sign-up sheet. And what you get to do if you choose to help, you get to pick your time and date, either Friday the 10th, Saturday the 11th, or Sunday the 12th. And you also get to choose whether you will help with artists, children's area, or the information booth. So there are several time slots. We're looking for about 15 volunteers. I'm going to start passing this around. We will also have a Sign Up Genius link that we will email to you so you can sign up for that. The other one is the Miracle League, and that one is September 13th, and that's from 6 to 8:30 p.m. We're also looking for 15 volunteers. This one is great because you get matched with a buddy, and these are children and adults with special needs ranging from 6 to 50s or 60s. So a wide variety of people that are looking for a buddy. So you get to as they play baseball. And that's the Edmond Rotary Miracle League. And that's at Mitch Park on the 13th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Again, looking for 15 volunteers for that. So I will start passing around this as well. Any questions? You can always email me, Jennifer Seaton, with any questions, or if you don't catch the sign-up sheet and you'd like to participate. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It's not working, so I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on. Hopefully that works.
So our Zoom members will tell you if they can't hear us.
Well, Andy, ask Andy, come here. Can you hear us?
Andy, let us know if you can hear us. So I guess we'll start by recognizing in any of our three categories of non-member that would be here. So that's visiting Rotarians. We have any visiting Rotarians? Any club guests? Club guests?
I do have a club guest today, Red Shimmer. Welcome, Red. We have a guest, friend guest, long-time friend, Lance Baker. He's a new empty nester. In the past, he's done a lot of work with the Diamond Foundation. Welcome, Red.
Any other guests in attendance? Well, let me start by saying I think more than one good thing came out of Norman. But since our esteemed leader and notable Orange person started that, I think anyone that's an Orange fan should be giving up $1 today in support of your president. And in recognition of our most notable OU grad, any OU grad or OU fan that would let an Orange fan outdo him by giving $1 today, you need to get your $1 out. And maybe the most important, remember where we're at in Edmond. Roll chose. If you're blue and gold, we're going to need your $1 too. So feel free to hand those around. Any announcements today? You got Andy with an announcement?
Well, there's $1 for being an Orange fan, and another $1 just to congratulate our president on being old enough to say something like that. But I've got a note for you that was received between last week's meeting and this. I need to mention by name. Dear Alice. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Andy Lester has started
I don't think James said when the clip is, like what he did.
Yeah, I don't think you did either. Yeah.
I think that's another word.
Police fine enclosed $300 in cash so that people have enough cash on hand to make a change for the very affluent Edmond Rotarians that carry large bill amounts in their personal wallet. They don't have to pay their fine on the spot.
Thank you.
We wish good luck to all who served as Sergeant at Arms on our collections and signed fondly, Bill Arnold.
Yay!
Phil, thank you very much. We miss you. We love you. Thank you for attending.
Yay, Phil. Any other announcements? Nope. Back where we started.
Okay, right now, my daughter-in-law is having a baby. This is my first one as a granddad. So Kennedy Claire will be here shortly, hopefully. So there's that announcement.
Thank you.
And then this is for my Wildcats, Kansas State Wildcats. I know. SEC bound, I know that. I know.
The rumor is they're Pac-12 bound. If you believe David wants that. If you believe Dave wants that. Any other announcements? I know you got one.
Just AMSI birthday money and OU, of course. And Dancing with the Stars. Oh, yeah.
I will give $1 for an announcement on my behalf and really the fire department's behalf and public schools' behalf as well. On September 11th, we'll have something out on social media this week. We're going to do a 9/11 recognition event. It's going to be at Edmond North's football stadium. It's going to start at 7:46 with a moment of silence. That's the time that the first plane struck the first tower. It'll be followed by either a 110-story climb, which we'll use the bleachers to do. That's 2,071 steps for those that choose to do that. or we'll use the track for a 5K, either walk or run. Participants' choice on that. It's free. It's just an opportunity for citizens and first responders to get together and recognize that nearly 3,000 people that were killed on that day. It'll conclude, I believe, around 9:28, which is the time that the North Tower fell. So that's about an hour and a half. It'll be open to the public, and we'll put that out on social media, and that is a collaboration between Edmond Public Schools, Edmond Fire, Edmond Police. Anyone else? One more, sorry. Oh, sorry.
As of last Sunday, I had my third, or my second weight depend on it.
Awesome. Josh.
So Chief Younger and Steve Murdoch, they may act tough, but they're softies when a dog needs to be saved. And yesterday, I'm going to send in some money on Venmo for our Edmond Animal Shelter. A dog named Murphy became really popular yesterday. And word got out that Murphy's an escape artist and won't take a caller, but I've seen videos of Murphy being rubbed on the belly and being loved. And so, anyway, it was an odd situation to find a home for Murphy. And so, #Save Murphy became a big thing yesterday. And Murdoch and Chief Younger and the Edmond Animal Shelter found a permanent home for Murphy. It's going to be a wonderful situation. So thank you.
Thank you. Good outcome for Murphy. No more announcements. We'll hand it back over to President Box.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, lots of fun here.
What did you do?
Thanks, Jess. Just a couple last minute announcements. Just a reminder, this club is full of great leaders. So for those of you that are joining us on Zoom, we're glad you're here. If you're just busy at the office or if you've had exposure, that's your business, not ours, but just a friendly reminder. We all love you. We all love each other. These are encouraged and respected. Encouraged and respected. Any of those? It's all encouraged and respected. So let's take a moment, say hi to our friends on Zoom. Andy Conyers, Barbara Dime, Chuck Musgrave. Chuck is getting ready to go on a trip for his anniversary and he's staying away so he can enjoy it. Chuck, welcome. Jeff Despain, Catherine Plunkett, Keith Kirsten, welcome. Louis Bremer from Lawrence, Kansas. This guy's going to fund his own scholarship. Phil Arnold, Randall Knowles, and Ray Hibbard. So welcome to our friends on Zoom. Welcome to our newest member, our superintendent. We're glad to have you back today with school starting back. We know the office aides, the seniors that are office aides, everybody's busy running errands, tagging people. So we're sending good thoughts to you and your team. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Chris Berry, for an announcement and to introduce our speaker.
Okay, before I introduce the speaker today, there's a flyer on your table for Stan's Closet at Sunset Elementary. This closet is in memory of Stan Kelly. With the closet, it's a chance for us to provide clothing to children at Sunset that don't have it. And so we actually work with the school administrators to find out what the need is each semester, and we try and fill that closet up. So right now, I believe on the flyer, it's shoes, pants, and underwear. Specifically in the smaller sizes. So if you're able to bring it, you can bring it to Rotary. You can also make a donation, and then we'll go out and buy the clothes and take it to the closet and fill it up and have the kids set hopefully for this fall semester, and then look to do it again in January when it's time to get them some coats and winter gear. So if you are available to help with that, we'd greatly appreciate it. I am excited to introduce our speaker today. I always feel weird when you have to read the bio. I don't want to miss something, so I always make sure I bring it up so we don't miss anything, because we've got some great speakers. But today I'm introducing Stacy McDaniel with Cleats for Kids. Stacy and her husband Mark founded Cleats for Kids back in 2011, where Stacy now serves as the executive director. The idea for Cleats for Kids was born when Stacy and Mark saw many kids unable to play sports because they could not afford shoes and equipment. Cleats for Kids now operates statewide in both Oklahoma and Ohio. Cleats for Kids has received the Oklahoma Center for Nonprofits 1 Award for Youth Development and the ESCO's Bill Phillips Award. Stacy love for impacting kids led her to serve with many community organizations such as the Board of Fields and Futures, Westminster School, Positives Tomorrow, and Children's Hospital Foundation. She and Mark are active members at the St. Luke's, and she has served and chaired various committees. And with her work in the community, Stacy's received several different awards, such as the Visions Award from the Oklahoma Center for Nonprofits, the Pi Beta Phi Crest Award for Community Service, and has been a Journal Record Woman of the Year. Definitely a timely speaker for today because she's an alum of Edmond Memorial, but also has her undergraduate from OSU and her law degree from OU. So we've got all three communities represented, so nobody I think can find any fault with her except for maybe the Tulsa people. So, but we'll leave that there. Prior to Cleats for Kids, Stacy worked in private practice and corporate law for 17 years, and her and Mark share 3 children, all who enjoy serving the community and especially helping kids. So it's my pleasure to introduce Stacy McDaniel.
I got mine. Okay. I'm equipped. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you guys for having me today. We're so excited. I have had the pleasure of getting to know Chris probably over the last 3 or so years, working together on stuff for kids, and I can tell you he is a champion and inspires us every single day. Every time he leaves our office, we just look around at each other with our mouths dropping because he's so good at what he does. So thank you, Chris, for everything that you do. I want to introduce Allison Meyer, my sidekick, also the machine worker. Allison is our Director of Operations. She is also a graduate, although Edmond North, and she is the one you go see if you need gear or if you want to donate gear for kids, and she's also the coordinator of our teen boards. I'm going to add a layer onto the university ties because I also have a UCO tie too. My family grew up in Edmond. My roots run all the way down to my grandfather. My uncle actually was born in the building on 1st and Broadway when the 2nd floor was a hospital, and my mom grew up on 8th Street. My grandfather was also born here, grew up in Edmond, graduated, and came back after he served in the Navy to coach at what was Central State College. He coached, I've got to read the list because I forget, he was head basketball coach and was assistant coach, I guess when you could do this in the day, for wrestling, tennis, baseball, and football, if you can imagine. He had a passion for Edmond, and his memory lives on in a couple of different areas. It was always his dream when he came back that there was a baseball field that kids could play on, and Barnett Field still exists today where kids play on. And then there is a tradition at UCO that graduates rub the old North Tower bell at Barnett Bell Plaza. And that was just so important to him because he knew how important an education was. I grew up on Cedar Oak, nestled between Old Farm and Arrowhead Hills. And when I was in high school, there was just one, and there was no Balto, there was no Swine Week or Double Dare Wolf Week. Those just didn't exist yet. My sister's class actually started Swine Week. But these programs are just so incredibly impactful for organizations. We were honored to be the common thread in 2019, and the difference that made for our operations was so impactful. But what is equally as important with that is just the lessons that it teaches the kids. And even though those programs didn't exist when I went to Edmond, I can tell you that my education in Edmond schools, whether it was at Will Rogers Elementary when we did a carnival made out of cardboard boxes for the MD telethon, if you can remember those, or a Key Club at the high school, that was really my foundation and love for community service. All of that came to fruition about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, our kids were playing ball down at a community center called the Pilot Center. It's located down by the jail in a really high-risk area. Every kid there went home every Friday with a backpack full of food from the food bank, and that's how they ate every weekend. So you can kind of see the kids that were there. And we were practicing basketball down there, and we were noticing there were all these kids that would warm up and they wanted to play, but they never could play. And we sat down with Lenora Ware, the lady that was running it, and we were like, okay, hey, what's the deal? Let's get these kids on the court and get them playing. And she said, well, I'm gonna tell you a story. Just this season, I had a mom who has 5 kids, and I told her that I got the city to waive the league fee so her kids could play. And she said, well, if I buy 5 pairs of shoes, because they didn't have any tennis shoes or basketball shoes, and she said, if I buy 5 pairs of shoes, I can't put groceries on the table and I can't pay my bills. And guess what? Those kids didn't play. And we were looking around, and we knew that our 3 kids were outgrowing stuff, literally, sometimes twice a season. And those of you guys that have been there know what that's like, because it gets expensive. And we knew that all of our friends' kids were outgrowing stuff, and it's all sitting in tubs in our garage. And we decided that we were just going to bridge the gap between the 2 of those. So Cleats for Kids was really started with very small acts of kindness. It was started with kids dropping stuff off on our front porch, in our garage. We swapped stuff in carpool lines. And one of our very first collection bins that we had was at the Edmond district offices, thanks to Mike Nunley, who has just, by the way, been just so incredibly supportive of Cleats for Kids over the years. Soon, our garage was piled up with sporting goods, which really stinks when you have to pull your car in there because there's a hailstorm. So we figured out that wasn't going to work a long time. And we began the Cleats for Kids mission after that. And our mission is to help kids live healthier lifestyles and learn life lessons by providing sports equipment to kids in need. So we collect gently new and used equipment. It's all located in our locker room where kids and coaches come shop free of charge. We don't have a screening process. You don't have to prove to us that you're on free and reduced lunch. And you don't have to show you have a referral from an agency. We just ask that you be in need and not have access. There is a famous quote that I love, and it's from Desmond Tutu, and he says, do your every little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. And you can find lots of those little bits of good in our locker room. We're located just off of Broadway Extension in Wilshire in the Chesapeake Community Plaza. It's about 2,400 square feet, and I would love for each of you to come down and take a tour. You can pop up anytime, 5 days a week, unannounced. If you're in the neighborhood, just come see us. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you a look at what our locker room's like. And we're gonna toggle back and forth. Oh, yay, it worked.
Hi, welcome to the Cleats for Kids locker room. The mission of Cleats for Kids is to equip and empower kids through the power of sports. We've created a space that we call our locker room, where families, coaches, and kids can find whatever sports shoes and equipment they need free of charge. This locker room is full of shoes and equipment, especially for kids, to grow their minds, bodies, and characters. We would like to take you on a tour of this special space and show you where the magic happens. Our locker room is organized by sport. We have shoes and equipment for every sport of every type and in every size. The smaller size shoes are on the bottom shelf.
Always. We've tested this like, I don't know, half a dozen times when we got here, and this did not happen. Should I skip it?
Oh. The smaller size shoes are on the bottom shelf.
Well, you guys may have to use your imagination. You get the picture. Oh, perfect. We'll put it on the social media. That would be awesome. Or you can stop by and see us too. This year we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, and we're celebrating the fact that we've helped 125,000 kids in 10 years. And we really couldn't do this without the community. And Rotary is just the high standard. It does set the standard for community service and service above self. And when you're thinking about the 4-way test and goodwill and friendships and whether your actions are beneficial to others, it really takes you to a place where you're living a part of something bigger than yourself, and you're thinking of the world as we, as a group, instead of just me. And we're just so incredibly blessed to be able to do that and get to know people and the needs in our community. And that happened to us not long after we started Cleats for Kids. We were visiting an elementary school, and we walked in, and there are kids playing. They're on their scooters. It was indoor PE day. They're, playing ball. There's kids playing Foursquare. And as we walked back to the PE teacher's office, there were all these kids sitting around the outside. And we walked in, and I said, "Oh, Lydia, please tell me all those kids are not in trouble." And she said, "Oh, no, they're not in trouble. They just don't have any tennis shoes today, so they don't get to play." And so you could see the look on those kids' faces. I mean, they were ostracized, they were left out, and literally the week after that started, because we really hadn't focused on tennis shoes, we were really dealing with cleats at the time. The week after that, we were at Douglas High School delivering basketball shoes, and there were this group of kids, and they're taking off on a run, and almost all of them were in kids or vans. So I picked up the phone, called the basketball coach, and she said, "Oh, well, that's our soccer team, they're going on their 3-mile training run." And again, I was like, wow, something's not right here. And I guarantee you, when those kids got back from their 3-mile training run, the coach heard about it, because that can't be good doing that day after day. It's just simply not right. And when you see things that just don't ring true, and you see a need in the community, and you take the time to get to know that, you really can't help but living outside of yourself and doing those little acts of kindness. When those two things happened, we started a running program that we call the Ready to Run program. If you've ever been to Midge Park or Red Coyote, hopefully you've seen our bin, and you can donate your shoes and your equipment. But all the running shoes that we get out of that, we stock in our locker room and get those to kids that need them. And because of that experience, we were able to leverage that up to a program that we called the Simon Greiner program. It's established in honor of an Edmond graduate, Simon Greiner, with support from his mom, Donna and Shelley Greiner. And this incredible program is a partnership with Fields and Futures and the Oklahoma City Public Schools, where now 1,000 kids have gotten new trainers. They get them new every season, and spikes go to the school so these kids can compete. And when we first started working with them, we're on our 5th year, is that right? Last year was our 4th season, and when we first started working with them, they were lucky if they had a kid go to state, and this year they had 18 kids go to state. 3 of them won their event. And we have had participation increase in that program right before COVID hit, about 300% since we started. And what you see is the impact that it has on those kids. When we're doing all of these acts of community service, and it's causing us to look at the world as we and not me, it really brings us all together. And we see that with our teen boards. It's proven true over and over in our mission. When Mark and I started Cleats for Kids, we knew we wanted kids helping kids to be a part of everything that we do. So kids are involved in every aspect of our mission, from collection drives to working with the inventory to the distribution events. And a great example of that was what we did last spring with Chris and the YMCA. The YMCA is put together a league that is for 3rd and 4th graders, in addition to the other leagues that you guys host. And I don't know, did you have maybe 4 weeks when you got the green light to find coaches, find fields, train coaches up, get kids registered, work with the schools? And our role in that is to provide cleats or shoes for whatever sport it is for the kids that can't afford it. And our varsity board kids, we couldn't have done it without them. And they were there. We handed out 300 pairs of shoes on the Saturday before Easter. And that is where you see these kids coming together. And they look at this as an opportunity to work together for a common good. You think about it, when you guys go volunteer, you don't walk in if you're down working at the food bank, or maybe you're volunteering at Project 66 and you're sorting cans, and you don't say, well, I'd like to work at the Republican table, or, oh, I'm only going to stuff those boxes with all the Democrats over here. You're just walking in trying to get as many cans of food to kids that need it and fill bellies. And we see that with the kids. Kids come from we've got about 150 kids annually that are involved in this program, and they come from 20 different schools and different backgrounds, and there are no barriers. There are conversations happening. They get to know each other, and it is just an incredibly awesome thing. And then they take those life lessons. And then we now have kids that have graduated that started our varsity board that are coming back and working in the Oklahoma City community, which is really impactful to see. The other side of the coin on community service is the impact that it has on the kids that receive it. I wish I could imitate any of these kids when they come in and actually get the shoes, but they actually, it literally light up. And the question we get most often is, do I get to keep these, or when do I have to bring these back? And for them to be able to walk into what is like a store to them, we're their Dick's or we're their Academy, and for them to be able to come in and pick out what they want and try it on, and pick out the color they want, is something they may never have gotten to do before. One of the incredible stories that really spoke to me was a baseball coach that came in, and he said, it was an Oklahoma City coach, and he said, we pulled up in our yellow bus, and we were getting ready to get off, and I couldn't get my kids off the bus. They were playing Deer Creek. And he said all the helmets matched, all the bags matched, all the uniforms matched, all the way down to the shoelaces. And I had kids, and I may have done that. No. I had kids. I can talk really loud, which my kids can attest to. I had kids that he said, I've got kids that won't get off the bus. He could not get them off the bus. And it's because they were intimidated. They were on the bus with baseball pants that had holes in them, cleats that, socks that didn't match. They were mostly playing in tennis shoes. And so we got him outfitted with some stuff, and he came back not long after we got him some stuff, and he said, I'll tell you what, Stacy, we may not be winning many more games, but our kids are playing together as a team, and they are standing up taller, they're feeling better about themselves, and they're actually having fun. And that's what it's about. And that only happened because somebody, a mom or some kids, took enough time to gather their old stuff and drop it off so that another kid would have a chance to play. What happens when these kids get this is they just develop a sense of hope. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Chan Hellman. He is a professor at OU up in Tulsa, and he travels the world now talking about the science of hope. And the science of hope is really being able to identify what your goals are, figuring out how to get to those goals, and having the willpower to do it. When you kind of dumb it down to Mark and I's level, my husband and I's level, it's kind of that special sauce that kids can have so that they can succeed in life. And Dr. Hellman's theories, really came out of him working with kids that have high trauma. And in Oklahoma, we've got one of the highest ACE trauma percentages across the nation. And interestingly enough, what he has found is that if we can create hope in our kids, they have better lives, they do better in school, they're better employees, and their relationships are better. And in fact, kids that have higher hope scores compared to kids that have lower hope scores have about 14% higher GPAs. And this is what I love about Dr. Hellman's work. His work has proven that one of the most important things we can do for our kids is just show them that they matter. So when you think about that, each of us, everybody in this room, can show a kid that they matter. Oh, that's okay. Oh, yay, I'm back. Each of us can do something that can show kids that they matter. And that's something that we really can all do. And with that, I kind of want to share with you a Cleats for Kids story, if we've got that queued up, that happened to us right when we started. I love this one so much, we're going to wait just a second. I know, exactly. Okay, while Allison is working on that, we may come back to that. We may finish with that. A teacher came in to me one school year, and she was a weightlifting teacher in a high school, and she said, I've got a kid who signed up, and he didn't have shoes, and so they had declined his enrollment, and so she got him some shoes. And at the time he came into her office, she didn't realize that he was homeless. She knew he was kind of flunking out, but she didn't realize he was also homeless. And she came back to me right before graduation, and she said, "Hey, do you remember that kid that I got shoes for?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said that he ended up being captain of the basketball team, and he ended up graduating, and he went to a VOTEC school, and his life was changed just because we had somebody that gave one pair of shoes. And for a lot of these kids, their locker room is their family. Oh, okay, we're back again. Intermission. When we come together as a community, we can give these kids those opportunities. And for many of these kids, you know, their locker room is like their home, and their teammates are their family. And as a couple of young kids from Capitol Hill High School shared with me after their program was almost set aside and cratered, they shared that nobody really knows what goes on after we leave school, and nobody really knows what we're dealing with. But when we come here, we're a brotherhood, and I know that this guy right next to me has got my back, and I know that I can trust him, and I know that he's going to be there for him. And so by supporting these programs and giving these opportunities to these kids, we're giving them an opportunity to succeed. You know, our goal is to remove cost as a barrier for access, and I was fortunate enough when I went to Edmond, you know, I didn't hear a lot about things like that. But when we started Cleats for Kids, we had some aha moments. And we figured out pretty quickly that when kids have access to sports gear, they participate. And when they participate, they stay in school, and their attendance goes up, because if they miss school, they don't get to play in the games, and their grades go up, and then graduation rates go up. But the reality is, in Oklahoma, about 1 in 4 families lives in poverty. So to put that in perspective, in Oklahoma City Public Schools, which runs about 40,000 usually, give or take, 36,000 of those families are trying to put food on the table with less than $25,000. And if you're a single parent trying to put food on the table, sporting goods really isn't an option. And you've heard a lot in the news lately about, probably sports equity, sports disparity, things like that. And the fact is, there's been some studies that have gone on that are pretty detailed, that families who make over $100,000 are about twice as likely as families that are lower income for their kids to be participating in sports. And at the same time, we know that kids need to be playing. You may have seen the results of the Annie Casey Foundation Kids Count report that just recently came out. It was published in the Oklahoman, where in Oklahoma, we rank 42nd in overall child well-being, and 35% of our kids are overweight or obese, and about 15% of our kids don't graduate on time. And we know that sports gives kids lessons that translate to the classroom and beyond. Again, in Oklahoma City Public Schools, about 99% of the kids that play sports graduate, which is 17% higher than kids that don't play sports. We know that their grades are better, their attendance is up, and we know that there are fewer discipline problems. To give you an even better understanding of why this is important, I want to share a quick slide about the Aspen Institute that they did, if we have that. And you can see, and I'd be happy to share this with anybody after, you can see that the impact, there's less morbidity, less risky behavior, and then kids that have active parents are twice as likely to be active. So if we're able to capture these kids when they're young, we can get them engaged and keep them engaged. And it's through programs like what the folks are doing at the YMCA that are accomplishing this for our youth. So Cleats for Kids serves kids across the entire state. We partner with 225 school districts and 55 organizations across the state to do our job. And we also work with schools, whether they're rural schools or urban schools, that are trying to get programs started. We have got collection sites across the city that you could find, and so ways that you guys could plug in are just to make donations. All of our collection sites are on our website. And we've got the one at Mitch Park, we've got one at Red Coyote, and we love to have collection drives. That's our bread and butter. That's how we keep our locker room shelves stocked. And so any kind of sporting goods. So if you are a tennis player, if you are a golfer, and I'm gonna guess, and a little birdie told me that there might be a few golfers in this crowd, please donate your stuff that you're not using to us. We had a volunteer in this morning that was he's graduating from graduating from college, going to med school, and he was a baseball player, and he lives in Texas, and he goes, I've got about 15 gloves at my house in Texas. And so everybody's got stuff just kind of stuck away in the bottom of their closet or in their garage that can be used to change a kid's life. And so drop that stuff off. We've got businesses, schools, Girl Scout troops that hold these drives, and you can also come in and volunteer in our locker room. We have got several things that we're launching in honor of our 10th anniversary. We're doing a tour where we're taking the Cleats for Kids mission across the state. We're going to be doing 10 tour stops this school year, where we're doing different events and distributions for the communities in areas across the state. And then we're also launching a program called Kids in Action, which is along the lines of our Kids Helping Kids vision. And it's a program where Allison and we were really doing this before COVID anyway, but we used the opportunity of COVID to kind of formalize this into the Kids in Action program. But we go into schools, church groups, anything like that, and just talk to kids about what it's like to share your time, treasure, and talent. It's not just writing a check. Sometimes it's as much as turning off the lights when you leave the room, but giving kids an understanding of what it's like to be a philanthropist. So I just would love to invite you guys to get involved or plug in, and I would love to answer any questions that you guys might have about our operations, our programs, ways to get plugged in, anything like that.
Time for one. Things like football helmets and shoulder pads, anything sports equipment.
That is actually a great question, Dan. Anything sports equipment except for one thing, and that's football helmets. So just because of concussion and our insurance doesn't cover them, we don't do football helmets. We will and have had schools donate football helmets when they get new ones, and we will help schools connect with other districts that need helmets. We've had some schools donate their entire set of football helmets, but football pads, compression gear, Under Armour, Nike compression, socks, shoes, sports bras, anything. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both, Allison and Stacy, so much. So in your honor, we're going to donate a book to Ida Freeman Elementary. And so we've started a new tradition this year. We're letting everybody hear the quote for the kiddos. You are a champion, Stacy McDaniel, Cleats for Kids. And I love this one. I hope reading this book is a slam dunk for you. Love, Allison Meyer. So thank you. Thanks for all that you do for our community. Moving from the corporate world to serving a need in the community, sharing about the science of hope with us today. That's impactful. It really embodies everything about service above self. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And then we have a scholarship drawing every week. We'll ask you to draw, and the funds go to kiddos that are in Edmond schools. And it's the last four, 3599, 3599, 3599. Randy, all right, Randy, we're looking for the King of Diamonds in honor of Buddy Morris.
Feels like it right there.
Not even close at all. One last thing, Stacy touched on the Chesapeake Community Center. For those of you that haven't seen it, I know we're going to go a minute over because this is important. I really would urge you to go by it sometime. It was one of Aubrey's passions, and I remember sitting in a meeting with him one time when he said, we're going to make it happen. We're going to give people Wi-Fi. We're going to give people IT. We're going to give them common space. We're going to cover the utilities. And one of the many, many nonprofits that's on that row is the McBride Foundation. The doctors at McBride have set up a foundation, and they give helmets to schools where kids are on the sideline because they don't have a helmet. And they give helmets for young ladies that play softball so they can get out of the dugout because they don't have a helmet. So there's a lot of great stuff over there. Thanks for sharing that today. With that in mind, please go out and be great Rotarians.